Hello.
Oh, that was it. That was it. I was expecting a whole a big barrel of fruit.
Well, this one isn't. This one isn't technically a Saturday morning cartoons, is it?
Oh,
We're going to take it easy because
right.
you've been busy and I didn't want to strain you. Well, not strain you, but I didn't want to put you on in a situation, Rob, where you're not at full Rob.
Hey, I tell you what, I am. I could just sleep through the stream.
Yeah. I could sense it through the text, and I could sense that Ben potentially would have preferred it if I'd said, "Yeah, just leave it for this week." And now I know why, because he's got a sugar hangover, which is fair enough. So I figure we might as well have an easy one.
And I kept thinking that I would get past it. I got the worst sugar hangover of my life. I didn't know that was a thing. But Max is in school scenes on nutrition.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
I just now thought this was weed, and that's actually made it a lot better.
Yeah.
So that was a good move.
Well, that tends to make it so. So, what have we been up to, lads?
Oh, this and that. I'm moving house. I am.
Yeah, you were just telling me all about it.
I tried reading. Oh, shit. Tell us about it. You're moving out?
House. Yeah, I'm moving house.
Oh, moving house.
That's it. Yeah, not moving out. No, moving house. Okay. Yeah. So, and everyone knows that. Everyone knows what that's like, right? So, you know, yeah.
Shit.
But, you know, yeah, I'm sure we'll be fine. It's just, you know, it takes a bit out of you. So we just got back about, let's see, about 10 minutes before I jumped on the StreamYard.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Feel free to shoot either of you if you like. I feel bad.
Pew, 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 pew. Oh, no.
The worst, I mean, I want to hang out. You know, I want to talk to you guys. I want to see what you're doing.
Yeah. I got to be honest, because of the whole moving stuff, like when it comes to drawing, rattle and roll, I mean, Lily was away for like 9 weeks, yeah?
Yeah.
And the first 2 or 3 weeks, I was taking it kind of easy. I was really getting into it, and I produced about 4 or 5 pages.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, but then it's like, I better get on with some, you know, like serious stuff now because hey, we got to move. So the past 6 weeks, nothing, nada, and that'll be it now until we've moved, until I've got stuff in place. Yeah. That's looking good. Tell me what that's about.
I'm gonna in a sec. I'm just following.
Fair enough.
I'm glad we decided to just do an art stream because I haven't read Judge Dredd recently, and I tried reading Invincible to stream about it, and I just didn't like it, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, wasn't for me.
I haven't read it, so I can't tell you. I'll have to. We'll have to lock horns on that one next week, maybe, eh? But you can tell it. You can tell us why.
It doesn't necessarily mean we shouldn't talk about it on a Saturday morning cartoons. It might actually make for a better episode.
The problem with the issue with Invincible is the main sort of crux of what the story is about becomes way more apparent at the very end with the big twist. There's like a huge big twist, so it sort of lures you into thinking it's like your bog standard another take on a superhero thing, but it gets very very dark at the end, very dark, and they pull it off really really well in the animated series, like really really well.
Well, that might be worth sticking around for then.
Yeah, because it's essentially it's like a cross between Superman. It's a whodunit, and it's a bit of there's like a bit of a mystery there.
Well, that does sound more interesting because I was just going on like I'm a superhero.
Yeah,
What if
yeah,
the
yeah.
superhero was realistic, and it was just sort of boring.
Yeah, it gets better. Trust me, it gets better. And also, I think you have to take into account it came out before all the Marvel movies and stuff. So it's been around.
What year was that then?
I'll double check. At least I'm pretty sure it is. It did.
Wow, even if you're fibbing, we will forgive you.
Has anyone seen the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie? The first two
I have not, but I would like to.
It'd probably be good, right?
Yeah.
Good series.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I like Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think I've heard mixed reviews about it so far. So
2003 it came out.
That was 20 years ago.
Yeah. So it's so you have to take into consideration the attitudes towards superheroes at the time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch Guardians eventually. I've fallen off Marvel a little bit, so they don't excite me when I know that they're coming out. You know what I mean?
Right. They don't excite me either. But I recall that I did like the first and second Guardians movies.
Yeah, same. I liked them as well. I like a lot of James Gunn's work. To be fair, I like his. Did you ever see Super?
No.
Well, I would definitely recommend that. Definitely.
Super.
Yeah, it's like I suppose it's in the vein of sort of Kick-Ass, but a lot darker than Kick-Ass.
Right. Nice.
Really quite grim, actually. Almost depressing. It's like what sort of person would decide to be, a dressed up vigilante? Well, probably someone that's got serious mental health issues, and that's the guy.
A bit like Birdman, then, yeah.
Yeah, but like he's way more crazy than Birdman.
All right.
He's he's super damaged, but he's trying to do the right thing, but he's really, really damaged, and he's not particularly tough. So right. He dresses up, but he just goes around with a monkey wrench and hits people on the head with it. And of course, it sounds funny, but like in reality, he's like crushing innocent people's skulls and stuff.
Shit.
But it's like a black comedy as well. Yeah. It's got Elliot Page in before she was a he.
Oh, what's the backstory there?
Her character or his character, whatever. She becomes the sidekick, but she's also got serious mental health issues.
Oh, okay. Oh, hang on a sec. This is not like an actress who actually had the sex change, but this was.
Oh yeah, you know Ellie Page.
Do I? Go on, give us a.
Remember Juno, the film Juno?
I've never seen it.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Rob, you don't know who Elliot Page is?
That's right.
I'm surprised because as Ellen Page, they were very well known. Yeah. They've been in a lot of movies.
All righty. Okay, that's interesting.
Let me find
an actress called Ellen Page, who's rather well known, is now changed their name to Elliot.
Right.
And, it's interesting that Elliot, because I always associated Elliot as being a boy's name, because of E.T. But I just finished watching oh God, what is it? Dead Ringers.
Yeah.
And
what, the movie or the series?
No, I haven't seen the movie, but I saw the series, right? So I'm going to watch the movie next. Right. And the two sisters.
That's Ellen Page.
Hang on, because I'm looking for Dread stuff. Okay, that's Ellen Page.
Yeah, and then that's Elliot Page.
Oh, okay.
Huh. Do you not recognize her? No, she was in Inception as well, and a few of the X-Men films.
Right, Inception. Oh, I like Inception. It's a bit weird, but I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she played Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
in X-Men. Yeah.
cool.
It's a shame. You know, it's funny. I always thought that she was quite pretty,
Yeah. So.
but something
But now she's a
about
boy. That makes you a bit gay, right?
well, she's a
Oh.
handsome boy. I mean, he's got a good face as a boy or a girl. It's a face that surprisingly works pretty well for a boy or a girl, which is unusual. But apart from that, when Ellen Page, I always knew Ellen Page as Ellen Page, and I thought she was really pretty. But there was something about her where I said I wouldn't want to have sex with her. There's like no. I used to say that it was the most attractive woman with no sex appeal.
Right. Okay.
Really? Okay.
I think
Yeah.
I sort of understand that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you turn gay for Elliot Page?
Well, I don't think so, because well, first of all, it would still be a woman body, wouldn't it?
No. You know,
yeah, biologically it'd be a woman's body. I think outwardly it might
Well, if I
resemble a closer a dude. Yeah.
But if I didn't want to have sex with her when she had boobs and long hair, so I definitely don't want to have sex with Elliot.
Fair enough.
Fair.
I prefer Elliot to Ellen.
Do you?
But would
In
shag
what
both.
sense?
I don't have any thoughts. I don't give a shit. Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? But yeah, she's good in that anyway.
Yeah.
Well, he's good in that. I don't even know what I'm supposed to say for past tense now.
Oh, she.
Yeah, am I misgendering or whatever if I'm referring to them in the past tense and they were?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't fucking know. But yeah, man, I this week is my final on site week, or next week will be for university. So I've got my final handing on Monday. And then I'm done.
Nice.
I'm done in higher education.
No, seriously?
Yeah. Forever.
Oh, what are you moving on to?
Well, I'm a teacher, and I just did my PCET to teach in FE. So I
all I got was abbreviations.
So FE is in college. So I did my PCET course.
Oh, further education. Yeah.
It's like a PGCE, but it's just for college. So because I didn't want to do high school.
Let's quiz Ben on his knowledge of PG. What did you say?
PGCE, but I'm doing the PCET.
You're pulling out pisses. That's what you're doing.
No, I'm not. A PGCE is to be a teacher, but you can teach overall aspects. Right. But a PCET is only for further and higher education. So I'm not necessarily qualified to teach in a high school.
That's pretty much the situation with me. I just started a course on Friday, actually. Yeah. A buddy of mine that I used to teach with at a private university in Neuss put me onto a teaching gig, if you like, at a state university in Krefeld.
Yeah.
And so I'm now teaching English for chemistry.
Which is
you know what? My chemistry is pretty weak. My English is all right, you know.
Yeah.
Except for not knowing what a PGCE is.
Right. I won't worry about it.
I don't know what PGCE is. I think that's just how the licensing works in the UK.
So basically, I got into this. We have like a lot of unis now. They have like classrooms where you can like move desks around. This was a lecture hall, you know, like with the area down at the front and then the seats going up, and it's all fixed seats.
So you're a lecturer. I'm a lecturer as well.
Well, this is it. But hello, puppy. But you know, I do prefer the Pugsy. What's his name or her name?
His name is Pug.
Hey, there you go. Hey. So
because he's the most quintessential looking pug
Yeah, it's pretty pug-like.
Yeah, he's about. Yeah,
He's the standard.
he looks like a bruiser, man. He looks like a bit of a bruiser.
He's very small, but he likes to pick fights.
Yeah.
When
Actually,
you say he's very small, does this also reflect on your size?
yeah, I'm small.
Because he looks kind of big, but maybe that's because
He
He
does look
doesn't
big for a
come very
pup.
high off the ground, and most dogs can beat him up, but he still
Yeah.
picks fights.
Yeah, my Basset Hound's the exact same way. He'll kick off with any dog, but his legs are about that long, so he gets battered.
has he got 5 legs?
He has got 5 legs, but
Yeah.
they're all about in length. They're all about equivalent to 1 leg.
Oh,
Hello.
hey, how'll do? How's the bean? Bean down pit.
I couldn't be bothered finding the baseball cap. I just grabbed the first one I could find.
How's the pony?
The world will not know I'm bald.
They will never find out.
They will never know.
How you doing, buddy?
Even when I announce it on stream, they will never know.
Yeah.
I'm good. My
Yeah.
partner and child are away at a party.
Wow.
It never gets any better than this.
You lucky bastard.
Which is why I'm already a glass and a half into the wine.
Yeah, no worries, mate. I've got a whiskey and a J on the go. We're just we're having an easy one for this one.
Oh, that's good.
Both Rob and Ben are fucked in their own way. They're
Make
pretty
of that
exhausted.
what you will. You have to catch
Is
up
there going to be
tomorrow.
any elaboration on that?
They're just having their own shit going on. Ben's going through a terrible cold turkey from chocolate biscuits.
Yeah,
and Rob's in the middle
Welcome
of
to
moving
my
house,
world.
so he's knackered.
Yeah.
I tried to quit sugar, and I had a relapse, and now I have a very bad headache.
Yeah.
Right. Really
Which singer sang Rush, Rush?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So yeah, we just thought we'd shoot the shit and draw some stuff and just talk about something that normal people talk about for a change.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I saw that it was a chill stream, so I thought I'd come on and do some editing and not say very much.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Go on and get on with it then.
I'm just experimenting here.
You've been working on stuff then, Rob, or you've not been working on it? How far are you from completing your Rattle and Roll project?
About 65%.
Oh wow!
I've got a spreadsheet with all different stages.
Of course,
because I don't do like, start page 1, finish page 1, start page 2.
Yeah.
Like I do all the kind of like general layouts and frames.
Yeah, you're like someone without ADHD that does things in a proper way, aren't you?
Nah.
Or you're aware of what you've done and what you haven't.
yeah. Well,
the only thing
There's
is,
no concept of that.
if I don't do that, we all live in the eye of the storm of chaos when we're on a project.
The only thing is, if I don't do that, so if I don't do that, right, then I just have no idea of how far along I am.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm envious.
Yeah, man, you're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think I do things the right way. I'm not terribly ADHD, I just don't have it in myself to live in the eye of the storm.
It's not
my
that
workplace is so organized.
It's not that you want to live in the eye of the storm. It's that you were born in the eye of the storm and you can't get out, no matter how hard you try.
I just wasn't born in the eye of the storm. I
Yeah.
guess.
So you
It
would
can be
not
stressful,
accuse
to be fair.
me. You guys would not accuse me of not being ADHD if you looked at the total fucking chaos that is my
Is it?
workroom.
Do you understand the chaos though?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, I have my own chaos.
Yeah,
that's
that's ADHD, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like shit isn't right, but I know where everything is, man.
Well, this is it. I mean, like, yeah, every once in a while, I think I know where stuff is, and then I'm like, oh no, I was wrong.
Oh yeah, also that as well.
That's
Also that all the time.
take
Well,
on,
I mean,
that's also a sign of cleverness when if you have disarray in your life, but you know where everything is.
Yeah.
If it makes sense to you.
I feel like I feel like creativity, right, saps other areas of your brain, and for me, it's like memory. It's like short-term memory, just dissipates, just goes. Like.
Interesting.
I can never remember anything. I always lose my keys. I always lose my wallet. I always lose my phone. Like every day.
I have to. This is it. I have to. I have coping mechanisms, right?
Yeah.
So like, this is why when we moved here, I actually I got a little key hook thing with 4 hooks, and I screwed it into the wall, so we always know where to put our keys.
Get this though, right? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And if I work on a habit basis, like a form of habit, then that's better because I'll never remember if I've put them there.
Yeah.
But if something goes wrong in the day, that sort of throws my day off, then I forget my habits and everything goes to shit.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
But it is a good. This is the sort of thing you have to live with if you've got it right.
Yeah.
I had the same when I was like 25. I don't know. I was in my mid-20s. I had the same PIN number for my card, for my bank card, since I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
And then one day I went to the cash point, put my card in, forgot my PIN number.
Yeah. No, I've been there.
And I was just like, what? Like someone asked me my son's birthday the other day, and I was like, I can't tell you because it's just totally gone out of my head.
Well, that sounds like drug, like.
Yeah.
Losing brains.
Yeah.
I've always been that way. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Even as a little kid, and I could never remember people's birthdays. Nothing.
Oh
like
God, I
remember at university, I was where me and Buddha met. I'd started dating this new girl, a lovely Scottish girl, and I'd been. She doesn't know this, but if she ever watches this, she'll probably find out.
We won't give her name.
We won't give her name, but
we'll just call
she
her
knows who she is. We went to a club. We've been dating for 2 months, and I just forgot her name. And I had to for 30 minutes. I had to call her mate, and then when she went to the toilet, I had to go into her bag and pull out a driver's license. And go, oh shit, yeah, that's the name, and then shit just goes like, and it will go.
Did you not have a name on your phone that you could flick through your phone? And
no, because this was 1999, and I didn't have a mobile phone.
Got it.
That sounds like a psychological condition.
Yeah, it is.
Like because I think Stephen Fry, I heard him say recently, he forgets people's faces after he meets them. Yeah, it's like have you ever done any research into whether forgetting people's names or just the basic facts?
It's really it's an ADHD symptom.
So have you been tested then?
No, I haven't. But
self-diagnosed.
No. Well, I tell people I've got it, but I'm like 1,000%. My dad, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that he has severe ADHD.
Really?
100%. Yeah.
Would he take you to the shops and forget you?
He would. He has no. Like, I love my dad to pieces. He's an amazing guy. I tell people this before they meet him. You'll never meet a guy like him. Like he's salt of the earth, but like if you're not used to him, he's a lot. And he doesn't have any sense of personal space.
Right.
So it doesn't. So when he talks to you, he'll be like, "Yeah." and he's just having a conversation with you about something that's took his like Putin or something. And but like you'll be like, Dad, you're really, really close to me, and he won't even realize that.
Did you used to strike up conversations at male urinals?
He'll strike up a conversation with anyone at any time, anywhere. He doesn't. He's not capable of embarrassment.
The male strike up a conversation.
Yeah. He isn't capable of like getting embarrassed in those situations. I can tell that he's like when other people do it, confuses him.
It's quite
Sounds like a normal American.
Yeah, maybe. So I think I have it a milder version, a much more milder version than my father has.
Well, my sister, and this is kind of like weird because last year I was having a conversation with my sister.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I'm convinced that our dad, who passed away at Christmas, had a kind of autism.
Right.
Which is like, wow. When she said that, I was like, wow, because it's you ever heard something and then all of a sudden it's like click.
Yeah, because I've said this to my mum and dad. I had a great childhood, but growing up, I couldn't articulate it at the time as a little kid. But I was acutely aware that my family was not like other family. They didn't function the same way that other.
I hear you there.
You see what I'm saying? Not necessarily in a bad way. It was just in a very different way. And then it wasn't until I was older that I sort of analysed my own behaviour, and I thought, maybe. And then when I would look back on my father's behaviour, I was, I'm almost certain, Yeah. So I totally get it. That can be caused by all sorts of things. Not just it can be inherited, but I think it can be down to like trauma, the childhood trauma, or PTSD or something like that.
Well,
my next door neighbour's family growing up, I think the dad, they were sure he had Asperger's. He passed away about 15 years ago as well. But it's once you discover these symptoms that, these conditions, certain things slot into place. You think, I mean, he was quite quiet and reserved. He, he would get obsessed with the minutiae of life, like. He would remember every road he'd ever driven on.
Right. So you pick something that you can find interesting, and you become laser focused and obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like
and you can't understand why other people
Rokan and AI art. Say again, brother.
And you can't understand why others aren't as laser focused.
Yeah.
That's the annoying thing about Asperger's. Because it's like a hyper magnification of what makes men different from women.
Yes.
So on the one hand, I understand it. I'm the same way. Like, whatever I'm into. But what's annoying about the Asperger's person is that he doesn't understand that you're not also into it.
Right. I'm sure men are more likely to be on the spectrum. Women,
right.
They say that, but I watch a lot of Andrew Huberman, and he says that a lot of girls just don't get diagnosed because girls are generally quieter. Right. Because it's kind of like in society, it's kind of more expected, and girls kind of like they conform to the quietness.
I feel like though it's not just the quietness. So it's not just quietness. I think men on the whole are more likely to be. Men tend to be into things. They're interested in things and stuff and the way things work. And women tend to gravitate towards relationships and people.
Mm-hmm.
And people that are on the spectrum with ADHD or Asperger's or whatever, they personify like that being into the way things work.
Yeah.
Way harder. Like apparently little kids with ADHD are obsessed with like things that spin, which is why they brought them fidget spinners out, right? Babies do that as well. My son is you spin like a fidget spinner, he'll just sit there watching it for ages.
So
have you ever had like a frozen block of spinach? You put it in a hot pan and just spin it around.
But guys
frozen,
like to know,
so it just creates this like there's this like
like we sit on here on this panel talking about comic books and what went into it and splitting it up into art and form and writing and all that. And we're essentially doing that. We're like, this is a thing. This is the way things work. These are all the elements. Let's talk about those elements.
Yeah.
Break everything down.
Right.
Oh my God. We're all on the spectrum.
We probably are on some level. And comics go, it's got comics in general, there's more men into it than women on especially on these sorts of things.
I was thinking about this just today actually, because I've always had this thing where I've always been surprised that there's a way I see the world, and there's my ideology and there's my opinions and everything, and it's always taken me aback when others don't share my opinions, because to me it just seems like common sense the way I think.
Oh, for sure.
And
what's wrong with you?
Yeah, and when 99% of the world don't think like the way I do, I'm like, oh, really?
If you laser focus on, if you make your ideology, this is the way. If I compartmentalize things, then I find it easier to change the way I think. Right. So, like, if I felt like if I focus on the idea of like having discussions and stuff, although you can be passionate about what you believe in, right? On the idea of like, you're more obsessed with like finding what's actually happening than you are about having an idea about things and defending that idea. Then suddenly, when you have conversations with people that disagree with you, you're way more open-minded about potentially bringing on board something that makes sense. You know what I mean? But does that make sense?
That I'm not sure.
Sorry, I missed all of that.
You gave an example.
This is me working.
So an example is if you're focused on an ideology and the way or a religion or the way you think about the world, and you're already stuck there, right? And you've got your focus on that. But when you come to have a conversation with somebody else that doesn't think the way you do, right? You're not what you're doing then is you're both taking a contrary position, and you're both just arguing whether your ideology is true or your ideology isn't true, right? But if instead of taking an ideology and just make the idea I'm looking for the truth, that's what I'm looking for, right? Then when you have a contrary position and someone says something that you might have batted off because you didn't want to have to deal with it because it might disprove something you believe, you'd actually take that on board, right? You're more open in a conversation. Okay. Like, I'm agnostic about anything that hasn't been proved to me, right? But if you can prove it to me, you'll change my mind. Because I feel like I've built myself up to have a level of character where I can go, okay, maybe I was wrong about that thing. Because I'm interested in the truth. I want to know what's really going on.
But being interested in the truth is an ideology into itself, because a lot of people aren't interested in the truth. What a lot of people are interested in is the way they wish the world would work, and finding the argument that validates that. True,
but my argument is you've got to internally recognize that and then actually focus on because the way the world works is the way the world works, right? You're in it whether you like it or not. You can make it, if you want to make it bend to the way you think the world works, that's fine. But I would rather know exactly where I stand, right? So I need to take, and you're not going to do that unless you take on every opinion in a way that you should sit down with somebody and sort of, you should assume that they know something you don't, right? Even if you don't necessarily agree with it. And analyze it honestly. I think that's really fucking difficult to do.
I think
it can, because sometimes there's a lot of bullshit to wade through.
There's a way I would like things.
Of truth.
There's a way I would like things to be, but that has nothing to do with the way I analyze things in front of me. There's loads of things that I think are that I wish weren't. You know.
Yeah.
Hello, Zaid, by the way. Yeah, Zaid Comics says, "Yo, boys!
Yo,
Cool.
Hey,
Yo.
we're just sitting around chewing the fat."
So anyway,
But what are the
comics at all? Yeah.
what is it annoying you to discover that people believe? Like do you think when people are religious, is that annoying to you because that's so foreign to what we think is common sense?
To me,
are you fishing for our opinion of you?
No, I don't
Who are you
mind.
asking that?
Buddha.
Well, it depends on the religion, and because I mean, religion is it doesn't depend on the religion. It depends on what specifically within the religion, which area we are discussing. There are so many religions, and they're so multifaceted that there's an endless stream of conversation to be had there. But I mean, ideologically, I'm probably more in line with Max. I like to know how the universe works, and to me, it's largely down to science and experimentation. What do the experiments show? Can things be conclusively proved? If they can't,
you both represent a point of view that I've only lately taken seriously, because for most of my life, when I meet atheists and agnostic people, I just kind of assume they were full of shit. And I've only recently actually come to understand that there really are people who sincerely just won't believe in anything extrasensory, and I think Max said this, like, you want something proved to you. So it's like, I think there's a lot of people who really are curious about the truth and want the truth, but maybe you've been brought up in a way where you've thought that science is the absolute measurement for what's real or something.
I was brought up Christian.
Oh,
my mum and dad believe in God, and
so was I.
Well, but Buddha will attest this. We had an argument in a pub about the existence of God.
When you say we, who?
Me and Buddha.
Okay.
When we were, it was a long time ago. I was in we were in our 20s, and
do
you not remember?
Oh God, this vaguely rings a bell.
It was in Yates.
It was a very long time
I
ago.
was arguing for the existence of God, and you were arguing against it. I can't remember exactly what we said, but I remember saying everything happens for a reason, and you really took offense to me saying that. You were like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
that doesn't. Yeah.
After how many pints was this discussion?
We listen.
Probably several.
Every time me and Buddha go out, we always have a debate about something. So anyway,
that was my nihilist period. That was when I was firmly of the belief that the only reality in the universe is one of chaos and anarchy, and nothing happens for a reason. We're all just matter banging into each other.
But without God, that seems like the inevitable conclusion.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me go through this, and then we will get onto that. So you say that I know we were both a bit different back then, right? But that did teach me. Everything happens for a reason is a nice thing to say, but it doesn't necessarily hold substance in an argument, right?
It's a very grandmothery thing to say.
It is, but I still.
I can see Max in like a grey wig with like little pince nez, like glasses. His knitting needles.
I think after that conversation, I went back and sort of rethought how, because there was more than that to it, but I sort of rethought, and then I became a staunch anti-theist for quite a while, and then I noticed the tide turning the other way, and I had a few friends that were berating another friend for being religious when they hadn't really shared that information to begin with, and it really pissed me off, like how harsh they were being. So then I thought I think that woke me up. I was like, oh, okay, there are. You can. It's not just religious people ramming their ideology down people's throats by any means. Sure. It happens the other way. There are people that are religious and they keep it to themselves, and other people just fucking hate them because they have this belief, right? But it's me growing up and sort of essentially discovering the nuance of the world. And I think now I've done like not a full circle, because I still, I'm not religious, but I still I think I've started to embrace some of the elements of the church. Like I recently had my baby christened, because I think the ceremony itself.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah, everybody was surprised they did that, right? You know me, mate. I'll do what the fuck I want.
It was a nice surprise as well.
It was because you got friends and family together over the boy, right? And then they all knew his existence, and we had a good time. And it was so without that,
the Church of England Church does these ceremonies well,
right? But without that sort of grounding that was based in that religious context, that wouldn't have happened. If I invited everybody around for a baby shower, they would have told me to go fuck myself, because it doesn't hold that level of traditionality. No. So there are elements to it that I actually do appreciate. And obviously got married as well, we made vows and stuff.
Yeah.
So sorry, Ben, what were you going to say?
No, I'm listening. I find this very interesting.
Yeah, so that's where I am. Like I'm open to. I'm not remotely bothered or offended by anybody that's any religion, and I'm open to hearing what you're going to say, because I actually do think, even though I used to be a big Richard Dawkins fan, I actually think I'm not sure, given the choice, whether I would remove religion from the world.
I like talking about religion, but I never approach it from the point of view that I'm trying to convince you to agree with me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm never trying to do that. But I'm really curious.
Just read what it says in this watchtower.
I appreciate you. I appreciate the opportunity to pick people's brains that don't believe in a formal religion, because I just don't understand how you arrive there. Because like Buddha, you were saying, for a while you were nihilistic. I believe you just believed in chaotic nihilism.
Yeah, well, but about the time I discovered Alan Moore, actually.
Or have you seen any synchronicity in order to things?
I mean, no. When you break it down,
no.
I think.
Okay.
It's like the argument that you can look for order if you want to believe in that. You can look. You can go outside.
I didn't want to believe in that.
And I think it looks inherently beautiful, but then if you break it back far enough to the Big Bang and the creation of the universe, you can see how this came about, and obviously there's going to be inherently beautiful things in the world, and deeply ugly things in the world and the greater universe, but does that mean there was some divine intervention into creating these things just because they're beautiful? I don't know.
Yeah,
it could just be a happy accident.
I definitely noticed synchronicity in the description of the creation of the universe. There's some things, because I'm no expert by any means, but there definitely is some there. There's some wild shit there, like isn't like the center of the Earth is like this. It's like balled up molten ball, right? And it has a magnetic field, and that magnetic field holds the moon in place, which is fucking crazy. Like, I just find it like that sounds to me like someone's made that, right? Now, so I understand where that thought process comes
and
from.
Nobody understands
my logical
why gravity works. That nobody understands why that works.
I know why, but like it's
and also the fact
it's just crazy. I can't. The synchronicity of it is like this thing is here and that keeps that there, and then it all culminates in life, right?
So, I think that an understanding of the planet Earth and the elements necessary to support life, I think all that's a very compelling argument for God.
So also the fact that the sun
my
and the
logical
moon.
brain says, but this is on the flip side. My logical brain says this is where I run into issues. Is that despite the synchronicity, it still doesn't necessarily point to it, because it's like a puddle in a hole, and the puddle thinks, I fit this hole perfectly. Therefore,
it was made
must be a designer.
I think it all comes down to the monkeys and the Shakespeare. Like, if you really think that given enough opportunities, they would randomly do it, whether they intended to or not. If you do think that, then you could see how the Earth and human life accidentally.
Mistakes.
Who the fuck is going to want to read shit like Hamlet when it's smeared with monkey?
People they worry about the fucking monkey aspect way too much. Like, just imagine it's an infinite amount of typewriters and they're being pebbles.
It's essentially what you're saying.
It's just a comment on the nature of infinity. That's all.
Yeah, in an infinite universe, we were.
It's a good joke, Rob. I like it.
To be hang on a sec, I gotta scrape this off.
However,
it has begun.
Well, I gotta do something.
I'm also aware, like, I think trying to understand really fully understand the nuances is like explaining your living room to your goldfish. I have no idea if its existence.
Well, this is
what's going on.
So DVD player.
So I don't necessarily think something came from anywhere, and when you die, you go nowhere. I feel the same about the existence of God, about that as well. I mean, just because of that, I still don't think that proves that when you die, you don't go somewhere. There isn't I just don't know what happens.
Uri Geller said something.
Fuck Uri Geller.
I know Uri Geller is a massive end.
Hey, I'll stick up for him. Are you calling Uri Geller a bender?
Yeah.
Bell end. But he did say something that made me think once. He said that within us all we contain energy, and energy never dies. So when our physical bodies die, where does that energy go?
Yeah,
it can't be destroyed, right? Only
can't be destroyed.
Yeah.
So does our spirits live on in the electricity pylons? And also, what is consciousness? That's the other thing that I can't quite fathom. Like, why is it always me experiencing this from this vantage point?
It won't be when the neural link comes out. You'll be able to experience other people's shit as well. I'm telling you, next stage.
So hold on though. What conclusion have you come to, Buddha? Is there synchronicity in union, or is everything chaos?
Everything's chaos, but I'm trying to, like everyone, find a way that I can live beyond death.
Interesting.
Yeah, I want to live beyond death too, and I can't.
I am a Buddhist after all.
Right.
We believe in reincarnation.
I like the tinned milk.
I'll tell you what. the fear of death as a justification for faith, when in reality nothing metaphysical exists, is a very good argument for atheism. Because I admit readily that I'm afraid of death, and that I don't want to contemplate the possibility that they may not exist one day.
It's a very good argument
always will exist.
For why organized religion sprung up over the past 5,000 years.
I think it's way more than that, though.
Yeah,
because it's their parable.
The thing is, though, I get that, Buddha. I get that, and I can understand why someone would conclude that. The problem is, everything isn't really chaos, and there is synchronicity, and there are miracles, and then it's really hard to know what to do with that. You know,
well, what would your definition of a miracle?
Because, like, even a miracle is when you write someone on a whim that you don't know, and you say, "Hey, I'm a writer, and I'm looking to convert my work into a comic book," and the same guy that you write to says back to you, "Well, I just did a magic incantation to look for a partner to work along with."
Yeah,
I just don't think that any of that could be chaotic or random.
So
that's not the only example in my life.
But within chaos and random, there must be coincidences, just because of the finite.
If I may spring in here, right? I have a long history of coincidences. About 20 odd times where I've met people from one country completely at random in another country. No?
Right.
And you know what? This thing you're talking about, like Ben's looking for an artist, you're looking for a writer. Okay, this is a stupid example, right? I was on a scooter, driving home from the pub one night, and I was like, absolutely, God, this was when I was in Taiwan, and I would have like really, committed grievous bodily harm just for 100 Taiwan dollar note, so I could have some dojang, some soybean milk, and xiaolong bao, which are like these beef dumplings. Yeah. And you know what?
Yeah, xiaolong bao. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And I'm like, I've like spent all my money. I've been out with friends, and I'm like, damn, I wish I had some money. And then I stopped because on the road next to me is $100 NT dollar note.
I thought you were going to say a dead guy, and you went to the
no. But seriously, right at that exact moment, was it my subconscious telling me that this is what I should wish for?
When you're having a dream and then you just wake up and there's like thunder in your head, but then you look outside and then there's thunder outside. Which one happened first?
Well, there's thunder outside, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But the thing is, it was kind of dark and I was going at speed, and it was only when I got in range I was like, bloody hell, there's money down there. I mean, stuff like that. But like, I love this whole idea of the coincidences because I've had many of them.
Buddha makes the point, and it's very strong, that there would be coincidences, some coincidences sometimes, no matter what. And then when you notice those coincidences, then you think, oh, because there's coincidences, then nothing's coincidence. But there would be some coincidence.
What?
It comes down to this. Do you think that your synchronicities were just the inevitable coincidences that must happen mathematically, or do you think that they're significant and anyone else was involved in them? That's what it comes down to.
I would say that mine.
Hang on a minute ago.
I would say that mine were significant because they happen so often.
I agree, because you're a good person, and I can see that the Holy Spirit is in you and around you. Rob.
Listen, I'm not saying they were miracles, but it's just like really crazy. Like and I tell you what, it hasn't happened for a long time. You know, I would seriously. This happened probably in my late 20s, early 30s, that it would just happen again and again.
Well,
I was wowed out every freaking time.
And you're wowed every time, and they always happen. Here's the thing.
Have you come to any conclusion, Rob,
about that?
About it?
Well,
you told me about them last week off air.
Okay. So check this out. Several years ago, I bought this book, The Power of Coincidence, and I remember it was on a Wednesday, and I was in Cleethorpes visiting my family. At that time, I was already here in Germany, right?
Yeah.
So check this out. It was a car boot sale. It was a Wednesday morning. I bought this book, started reading it. That evening, went to the cinema with my sister, right?
Yeah.
And I got to, in Cleethorpes. So I can't remember what film we watched, but after the film, I went to the loo.
It was like, not Memphis Belle again, Rob.
No. I went to the loo. My sister went to the loo. But when I was in the loo, this guy walked past me. And I thought to myself, I know him. And then left, because obviously, I'm from Grimsby. But it's more than that, because I went out. I left the loo and waited for my sister. This guy starts talking German, right? And this is when I was living in Cologne. Yeah. The guy in the cinema is one of the professors at the uni, at the technical high school that I was teaching at.
Yeah.
His wife's from Cleethorpes.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Admittedly, I did know that his wife comes from Cleethorpes, but I'd never met her. But I found that out several years earlier, and it was just an absolute coincidence that we were in Cleethorpes at the same time, in the cinema at the same time. So that's that one thing. Right? So this book. Now, about 4 or 5 days later, I was hitching, not really hitching, because one of my parents' friends is a truck driver, a guy called Kev.
Yeah.
And he took me over to France, let me out in Dunkirk, right? Anyway, so we're in a cab. We don't know each other. I think we set off about 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So got chatting with him, and he's like, oh, well, where do you go out when you're in Grimsby? I'm like, oh, like to the Barge, to Lloyd's, different pubs and stuff. And I asked him, do you go out much in town? Because I know he knows my mum and dad from the social club they go to.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, we spend a lot of time outside of town. We go to Binbrook a lot. And I'm like, oh, okay. Do you know the Clickham Inn? It's like, yeah, we go there. Yeah, we were there on Saturday. I say, oh, right, okay. Well, do you know the owner, Terry? He's like, yeah. Well, I was engaged to his daughter. Yeah. And he's in the car. He's in the driving seat. He's like, looks at me. He's like, fuck, that's my best mate's wife.
I thought he was going to say it was him.
No. It was like, and then, so this guy kind of.
I'm your best mate's daughter.
So he calls his best mate, and this guy, and I can't remember his first name, but I know his last name's Garland.
Yeah.
And this is all the time I'm reading this book, and then when he told me his name was Garland, something Garland, I can't remember what it is, but it turns out, right, within this book, the word Garland comes up another 5 times in the next, how often do you see the word Garland in a book?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it comes up, and one of them is the name of a ship. Right? I'm like, that's just really freaking freaky. Like, all these coincidences. I mean, it just made me a bit more aware, maybe because the book itself was on coincidences.
Right.
We've never really touched on. Rob, are you particularly religious at all? Or
when I was a kid, yeah, because I used to go to church. But these days, I've been very, very
That's the standard British.
Well, it kind of is, but then
when
again,
I was a kid,
as you get older, you kind of see, you know, like different things that the church has done historically, and you know, like what people do in the name of God, and that kind of pisses me off, really.
I think I think a large part of it is what
love this stereo effect going on.
Bricks off going to church. It's just how stupefyingly dull English church is. I can understand why, if you live in the US, you would still go because it's so much more fun. You know.
Do you do a lot of dancing, Ben?
Joyous.
Well,
is it all praise the Lord?
I mean, I'm Orthodox Christian, so we have a very formulated and prescribed way of worship that we must adhere to and that we cannot waver from. What I'm curious about is, because I agree that your church is boring because Anglican.
no argument here.
Anglicanism is not one of the more to be taken seriously sects of Christianity. No offense if anyone's Anglican. But it's not. It's really not. But what I'm curious about is if you find the same things that you describe as boring are the same things that for me are easily refuted, or if you're just looking to have a more interesting experience. Because if you went to an Orthodox church, you might be more bored. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's more serious. It's more to be taken seriously. It's more compelling, and it's more believable than an Anglican service.
And I think really that the mindset has to be different if you're talking about religion. If you want entertaining, go to the cinema,
right?
You know, but like because for that reason. Yeah, because you know, like the church is there to, you know, teach you from right from wrong and to help you with morals and help you guide you to lead a more righteous life.
What?
Yeah, it can be presented. There are different ways of presenting stuff. Absolutely.
See, I like the Orthodox way,
okay.
But some people, like my wife, finds it, my fiance, I guess, but like,
dude, you're jumping the gun.
Finds it. It's just so weird.
Exclusive.
It's just weird for me to say anything but wife since I've been married once in the past, and to say girlfriend or to say anything else just seems weird. It sounds like something a little kid would say.
Yeah,
that doesn't matter. But the point I'm making is
my wife, because as a 43-year-old male, I can't say partner. I have to say wife.
Right.
I'm not married by now. Even though I'm
exactly.
Not.
Even if you're not married, you have to say wife to sound like an adult. But the point is, she finds Orthodox services really boring, right? And
is she Roman Catholic?
No, she's like she's more of a Protestant, like non-denominational Protestant.
Okay. I think that's how I describe myself. Well, yeah, it's kind of how I describe myself, really. I mean, I'm not really practicing, but like, thing is, I believe in certain aspects. I totally believe that Christ was a historical figure who taught, who attempted to teach people a righteous way. No?
Yeah.
And they crucified.
Well, I mean, the question is like, if I went to a Protestant church service, I would find it boring because, to my taste, they're not taking it seriously enough. Whereas someone could go to an Orthodox service and find it still more boring, precisely because of how seriously they take it, and they would prefer something more entertaining. So
when does the self-flagellation come into it?
What's interesting about atheism is that I do think you have to back it up by what religion you were brought up in, because most people were brought up in some form of religion. And that's the interesting thing about religion, is that it does inform your identity, even in this day and age. You know,
any over-encompassing ideology ideology, whether it's religion or whatever, fucking veganism, they take over your identity if you're not extremely careful, right?
If you're an atheist Jew, I think you've got to say Jewish atheist. You can't just say atheist, because all of a sudden, if you reveal yourself as Jewish, that opens up a whole plethora of history, of upbringing, of ideology, of racial background. It informs so much more than saying atheist, and that's the interesting thing about religion. If I feel like, in some respects, I am still a Christian. I think the teachings of Christ are a good moral code to live your life by. It's the writing in the Bible. I mean, if you read it, if you take out all the things that you don't quite buy, like the miracles or the Son of God thing, there is still a really, really good philosophy there.
Oh, absolutely.
And
the thing is, this. Sorry, you carry on. I'll come back to this point because it's
supernatural.
I had another point to make that was on another tangent. But it's funny that people readily accept that Christ was an actual historical figure, and I did up until very, very recently. And
heresy! Burn him!
Well, a friend of mine at work said, "Why do you think that Christ was a historical figure? There's virtually no evidence for his existence." I was like, shut up. Everyone accepts that Christ was a real person who existed. It's like, well,
it's a conspiracy.
What's the proof out there that he existed? If you look into it, there's only really two documents of proof. One is the Bible.
They're pretty freaking big. What are you going to call them? Fan fiction?
There's the New Testament, which is oral folklore handed down from generation to generation, and the other is the Dead Sea Scrolls. Right. But if you look at what the Dead Sea Scrolls, which was a document written at the time of Christ, says, it just mentions a great teacher. And it's perfectly possible that everybody leapt on this reference in the Dead Sea Scrolls as, oh, that obviously means Christ. That is proof of the existence of Christ. Whereas in actual fact, a great teacher could have been anybody who existed around that time.
I'm not a bad teacher.
Necessarily mean Christ.
Kind of like give me good ratings.
Even Rob, he's a great teacher.
Yeah, I'm all right.
But it's interesting that the sort of story of Christ. There's examples actually further back in history of these other supposed historical figures who existed, and there's a very similar story about being a great teacher and then a great martyr and then the resurrection. So it's possible that if there was a real historical figure in history, that all these other elements have been so conflated and have changed his story over time.
The hypothesis is that the authors of the New Testament made him up based on things like Mithras and I forget what the other ones are, but the sort of previous religions that have common elements. Is that the hypothesis?
Yes. Yeah. Essentially. I'm only going by what one other person has said to me recently, but because I genuinely have, and I'm only going back like about 3 months here, when he said, "Oh, Jesus didn't exist." I was like, "What are you talking about?"
The way we
Jesus
know
did exist, I mean, this is pretty much accepted by most theologians around the world.
Yeah.
I'm just so surprised by that line of reasoning, because it's like the reason that we know that Jesus existed, wasn't because we have 2,000-year-old books from the time. Who gives a fuck? The reason we know he existed is because of all the people all over the place around you that know him.
When you think about it, I mean, like, you know, the Catholic Church was, hang on a sec, was it St. Paul? Was it St. Paul or St. Peter? Which one went to Rome?
Peter, I think.
Yeah. Okay. And the thing is, I mean, like, why would he do that about a made-up person? I mean, like, did he really think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Rome. I'm going to spread the word of an absolute made-up person so that in 2,000 years, people will believe it, even though it's a conspiracy.
Oh, yeah. Look,
how do we know Saint Peter existed?
So, Buddha.
Isn't his tomb in the Vatican?
I think it is. Yeah,
I think it is. I'll tell you something funny about the Vatican, right? So we went to the Vatican in 2012, and my wife and her whole family, like about me and another 20 Chinese people, on a bus tour through Europe, right? And what's funny is I'm in the Vatican and all these people milling around, and I hear an American tourist. You'll kill yourself for this. I heard this American tourist. So I hear that they have the head of Christ here.
That's really funny.
So no, it's his cock. It was. I don't know. People say things to you that get the old grey matter twitching.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I mean, it's
fine. It's a perfectly good thing to think about.
Ben, have you ever heard of the Pauline apostles or epistles?
I would say apostles, no?
Epistles, E-P-I-S-T-L-E-S.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, aren't those just the books in the Bible written by Paul? To the Corinthians, to the Romans.
I was just looking up the historical evidence for Jesus. The Pauline epistles are dated.
Yeah, those are books in the Bible written by Paul.
Right. So that is another.
Everybody forgets Ringo.
Historical evidence of Jesus.
But
the earliest surviving Christian texts that include information.
But I don't think that we can historically confirm that anyone did or didn't exist 2,000 years ago. That's too far.
I beg to disagree. You know I beg to disagree. Like, really? Who was king at the time of Christ?
I don't know.
Herod.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think everybody knows that he existed, right?
Well, it says the reality is that we have any archaeological records for virtually anyone who lived in Jesus' time, says the University of North Carolina religious studies professor Bart D. Ehrman. So I think Ben's right there that you can't. Yeah. It's too far back.
Yeah, but you've got.
I mean, there's much more. Though obviously, there's going to be much more evidence for the great leaders that lived at the time. Sure. Like, I'm fairly sure that Julius Caesar, who coexisted with the time of Christ, I believe. I'm fairly sure he existed, just because there's far more documentation about him. There's busts that were.
Well, like King Herod, for example, was
I'm saying with these folk heroes like Jesus essentially was, things are going to get much more muddied. It's going to become much more of a Robin Hood story over time.
Yeah.
Well, Rob makes a good point though. Like the followers, the early generation followers of Jesus, they did a lot.
Yeah,
and they were tortured too.
Yeah.
So
and then they died because they believed so much. And
if you come up with this cult with your friends that you made up about a non-existent person, maybe you could convince others, but you're not going to die and be willingly tortured for it.
Yeah.
Well, but this brings me back to my previous point that because it's such good sound philosophy, it almost, in a way, doesn't matter if he existed or not. You know, the fact of the matter is that if he exists as a folk hero, as an icon to look up to, it doesn't. It almost doesn't matter if there was a real flesh and blood person.
I tell you what, in 2,000 years, Brexit will be seen as a real historical figure that a whole country fucked itself over.
Yeah,
exactly.
Ben's off.
Ben's done.
What have I said now?
Be back with his Bible anyway.
Oh, he's got to get quotes.
Listen to me, you fucking heathens.
No, it's my wife playing music, and I'm worried that you're gonna hear it.
Why? How bad is the music?
Well, it's south.
Is it Eurovision?
I don't really care for salsa music.
I will be back momentarily.
So I'm trying to think. Pontius Pilate, of course, was there at Jesus' death, and he's a proven historical figure. And I'm trying to remember who. Wait. I'm trying to remember who. Hey, what? No, the whole idea that no one can prove that these people existed. Archaeology proves that a lot of the people mentioned in the Bible existed. And I'm trying to remember who the governor of the governor of God, what was Bethlehem? What province it was?
Judea, and the governor was Pontius Pilate. You already mentioned him.
Was he the governor then? Yeah, he was. Okay,
yeah, he was the governor. Oh, so because of the record, then that's how we know he existed.
Well, I mean, not only that, but like the Romans, they had like busts and all sort, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, there's icons of Jesus. Saint Luke painted the first one.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But when did Saint Luke exist? Wasn't he one of the ones that came along about 2 centuries later?
No, he was contemporary with him. He was one of his 12 apostles. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And there's an actual painting of him in existence that Saint Luke painted.
Well, maybe the one that Saint Luke did doesn't exist anymore. Let me look.
Okay, yeah, Pontius Pilate was Pontius Pilate, and I think I'm mixing stuff up because one of the Roman governors had to put down a Jewish uprising. I'm trying to remember when that was.
Oh yeah, so the oldest existing picture of Jesus is in St. Catherine's Monastery, thought to have been painted in the year 726. So
is it a white guy with a beard and long hair?
Well, he's not white. If St. Luke painted Jesus, a portrait of Jesus, as my tradition says he did, that image doesn't exist anymore. So,
yeah. So, yeah. I mean, this is it. There's very, very little from the actual time from 0 AD or 33 AD in terms of historical evidence.
Ergo, God.
QED.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's all I'm saying.
I'm only fucking around. I'd love to be convinced, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to be convinced.
It would make everything right.
Yeah.
There would be no good or bad days if he could get up and truly believe.
Speaking of religion, I had a couple of Mormons turn up at my house on Tuesday evening.
Did you ask them which one's the elder?
I
always do that.
But I like people.
Which one's the
People
younger
avoid them,
elder?
don't
Which
they?
one's the elder?
The younger
Those are
elder.
the younger.
People avoid like the knock door Mormons, man, but not me. I make them avoid me.
Yeah, I love it.
Did you chat them up?
Oh, mate, when if people come to my door trying to sell their religion,
Do you try to sell them
I
comics?
love it. I love the conversation, but I tell them the same thing. Like, if you can sell it me, I'll buy it off you. Hasn't happened yet, though. But I have a friendly discussion. I honestly find it dead interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
I think they always get surprised when I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
I
don't argue.
You're not going to slam the door in my face and I put my foot in the door.
Did any of you ever see the Book of Mormon? You know, the South Park guys.
No.
You know what? I wish I had, because I had a chance to see it here in Cologne, but it would have been in German, right? I don't know if they're going to make a movie out of it, but I hear it's really, really good.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Well, when I saw Avenue Q a few weeks ago, and I think the people
they're
who did the
shutting
music
it down, aren't
for
they?
that also did the Book of Mormon, and I really liked Avenue Q.
The internet is for porn, for porn. Me up all night, hugging me horn for porn, porn, porn.
It would be even funnier without the annoying buzzing and echoing of the microphone. But that's just
You're right. I mean,
some days he's a fan, some days he's not.
I like you, Rob. That doesn't change. I don't like
you
the
too,
microphone.
Ben.
It's too loud and it's echoing.
Today's a bad mic day.
Don't conflate yourself with the microphone. You're not the same.
I don't.
You're not the same person.
My name's not Mike.
So you're a Protestant?
Ben's judging the sin and not the sinner.
Exactly. As I've been taught to do.
I know, mate. I know.
Are you a Protestant then, Rob?
Well, here's the thing, right? Like growing up, I heard about Protestant, and I'm thinking, you know, just the terminology Protestant. I mean, I personally have not
I'm not protesting anything.
Yeah, I'm not protesting anything. Does this mean, you know, like, and for me, it's like a bit of a strange name to call myself.
Do you have a sect or denomination that you favor or that you consider yourself a member of?
No, when I was let me see. My Baptist church was St. Mark's, which was just regular old vanilla C of E. When I used to go to playgroup, it was in a Baptist church. And then years later, when I decided for myself to join the Boys Brigade, anyone been in the Boys Brigade?
Is that like Cubs?
Yeah, kind of like Cubs, but it's not Cubs. And so that was in a Methodist church, all, funnily enough, in the same road.
The Boys Brigade sounds a lot gayer than Cubs.
It does. It does.
A little bit.
It doesn't sound.
It's almost like
Scouts, though.
Yeah.
If you get,
I mean, I hear you there. You know,
it's like if you get molested in the Boys Brigade.
It's sort of
surprised.
You are obviously asking for it.
Wasn't that what you mean?
If you got molested in the Boys Brigade, you were obviously asking for it because you joined the Boys Brigade.
The Boys Brigade, yeah, that's what I mean.
That's the worst place to get molested.
Yeah. All the best. Depends where you're coming from.
Should they have not retitled it to the Sausage Brigade?
I mean, I don't believe in blaming the victim, but
we are blaming you, Rob.
But I do think there's some subconscious looking for trouble there.
So check this out. When I first joined the Territorials, it was so funny because
You're gonna play with fire, little boy.
when I first joined the Territorials, it was so funny because this sergeant was asking, has anyone ever done any marching? So me, I thought, fuck it, yeah. I put my hand up and it's like, oh, okay, where? Boys Brigade. And every fucker laughed their heads off. And the sergeant was like, there's no wrong with the Boys Brigade. Okay, go camping with the Girls Brigade.
Fair enough.
Which we Unfortunately, never did.
That's really funny, but it's not true. Yeah.
Yeah. Not at all true. No, we never went camping.
First of all, there is no girls' brigade because
there is a girls' brigade.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, this is about the year 2000.
Yeah. No, this was 1987.
And there was one back then.
Yeah. It's when I was 17 when I joined the Territorials.
See, in my world, there was beavers.
Beavers.
Beavers. Those kids are about like, how old are those kids?
About 6 to 8, I guess.
Yeah. So you can't really make beaver jokes.
You know what I think happened there? I think they overcorrected from Boys Brigade. You know, like, we can't have that, it's too gay. Let's call it something that's got more beavers. And it was like, they just way overcorrected.
Well, did we still call the brownies the brownies?
True.
I believe it do. Yeah, I don't know. My sister was involved with the beavers and the brownies for years. The guides.
Yeah, but in this day and age, do you still have the brownies?
Yeah.
I really.
Did you work with brownies?
No, Cubs.
Cubs.
Yeah.
Did you get kicked out of the brownies?
Always tried to get in the brownies.
Did you get kicked out of the brownies for having too high a skirt?
They wouldn't let me into Cubs.
I was
too naughty.
Yeah.
Wasn't allowed in.
Yeah, I was a good boy. I was a cub and a scout.
Yeah. You
and then I was
you're freaking double agent.
Yeah.
I'm still
I was
just
like
trying to imagine
the deputy cub leader for Bradley Cub Society for 2 years as well.
Suppose Jesus wasn't a real historical figure.
Right.
Suppose he's just made up.
Yeah.
So then there's all these people worshiping an idea that's a lie.
Yeah.
That's what you think that would suck.
I mean, I thought that anyway, but my Old Testament arguments.
Well, look. The only thing about this is, let's go back a few steps to the Greek gods.
Because I feel like everyone pretty much knows who they're worshiping, right? Even
wait. Those people back in pre-Christianity, worshipping Zeus, Jupiter, etc.
Yeah.
Were they real people?
Yeah.
Do you think? This is it. This is my point, you see. This is my point. Like, you've got all these different deities. And some of these deities were created to explain natural phenomena.
Well, okay, hold on a second.
The only difference between Christianity and these other deities is Christianity is kind of like based. Christianity and Islam, they're based on real people, alleged historical figures, right? Real or alleged historical figures.
If you take it to deities, then I mean, with Christianity and Judaism, there's 200 gods that are worshipped on this planet.
And by the way, they're all.
And I don't believe, if you're a Christian, you don't believe in 199 of them. If you're an atheist,
I just said they're all real.
You don't believe in one more.
Of course they're real. You're not going to worship something that doesn't exist. That doesn't happen. Especially
of course it does. Of course it does. Have you ever seen Instagram? People do it all the time.
What are they worshiping? They
worship these people with absolute perfect lifestyles, and most of these perfect lifestyles are an absolute lie.
Well, they're mostly ogling girls and women, aren't they? And these women are altering the photos. So first of all, their photos aren't real. You don't always dress like that. Even if you did, you're an asshole. So it's not you, the person you're projecting. I realized this when I dated a woman that was a nude model, and I thought it was going to be just great, hot.
Did you say a nude model?
Yes, for magazines.
Nice.
Ben's terrible life.
And I thought it was just going to be like kinky, great sex all the time. And it wasn't. And then I would look at the magazine and I'd be like, so does that mean that this person doesn't exist? It depends what you mean. The woman in the magazine doesn't exist because in reality, she's not a good lay and she's no fun and you don't like her anyways, right?
So
but does that mean that the image doesn't exist? Yeah,
no.
the image exists.
The image. But the thing is, the image is what you carry in your mind.
The image exists, but your ideal of the image doesn't exist.
The woman, the point is, the woman
model
is not really the woman in the picture.
Sure.
Who's really the woman in the picture? Aphrodite. And then you're going to tell me that Aphrodite doesn't really exist. Of course she fucking does. I'm looking at her right now. Aphrodite.
I would argue that the woman that exists, the woman in the picture is the spectacle.
She put her legs behind her ears and made a spectacle of herself.
The spectacle doesn't exist.
So let's think about
dated Ben and made a spectacle.
Everybody loves the spectacle, but the spectacle doesn't exist.
Right, and the spectacle is obviously a real god. It's obviously a real thing, and like
that's very Alan Moore of you, Ben. I like that.
Yeah.
The spectacle.
Yeah, the spectacle
Max
is
is
real.
wearing spectacles, and so is Rob.
But think about this. It's like you said that Greek pantheon doesn't really exist. Well, I think the Greek pantheon definitely does exist. I just gave you evidence for Aphrodite. Mars is when people lose their temper and fly into a rage and do things involuntarily that they can't even control. That's Mars. You know what I mean? You can give these aspects different names, and they exist in different pantheons in different ways. But obviously, the phenomena that leads primitive people to come up with a pantheon, even though there's variations, those supernatural phenomena are obviously real, and human beings interact with them. That's what it tells us to give them names.
Have you ever read Maps of Meaning?
I mean, I got the gist of it.
It's good.
Yeah.
One of my professors, and remember this is all in German, one of my professors was talking to the class about pantheism, which is pantheism in German. Yeah, exactly. Pantheismus. And I just had in my mind one of the girls putting her hand, one of the blonde girls putting her hand up and say, but I don't wear any.
Right. I don't believe in panties. Yeah.
Me either.
But it's like there's observable phenomena that's sacred and outside of human beings, and that's the phenomena that gets painted and named Zeus or Jupiter or Odin or whatever, but it's obviously something real,
right?
You know what I mean? So like in a sense, Odin isn't real, and in a sense, Zeus isn't real, but in a bigger sense, they're the same person.
Here's a question for you. When you talk about theology, well, who are you talking about?
Well, I have a pretty clear idea of God existing as a Trinity.
Wait. That's not my question. My question is, when you think about theology, who are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't understand the question.
Think of the name Theos. It's the Greek name. So where does that come from? Hey?
Was that a god?
Yeah. And you know the name of this god. Theos? Zeus.
Oh.
The word theology and everything theological comes from the name Zeus.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So there you go. Like everything we talk about God, then it's just a continuation of it's an amalgamation, obviously, because of course you've got the Greek Theos, Zeus, but then of course the God that was the God of the Old Testament as well, and he went through a bit of a mood shift between the Old Testament and the New Testament. He kind of like, chilled out a bit, right?
Right.
But
It doesn't seem that way to me, but all right.
Well, yeah, kinda, because like in the Old Testament, he's very much hell and brimstone, wasn't he?
Well, he's killing people.
Yeah,
that's not a bad thing to do.
Destroying cities, turning people into salt, that kind of stuff.
Which Jesus,
and he kind of chilled out a bit in his old age. So, so I mean, obviously you got this, and we talk about Judeo-Christian, right? The Judeo-Christian God. Which is really interesting, of course. The Old Testament is the Old Testament, not just in the Bible, but of course in the Torah and in the Quran. I mean, there are parts of the Old Testament in all three books, right?
Doesn't the Quran acknowledge Jesus as existing?
Yes, but they don't say he's the Son of God. They say he is a prophet.
Right.
And this is what pisses me off when people like right wingers say, oh, they want to ban Christmas and they want to ban Jesus, etc. Well, that's bullshit, because they wouldn't want to do that, because Christ or Jesus was, or Jesus was a prophet even to the Muslims.
But is it the Muslims?
People are still twats.
Is it Muslims banning Christmas? Who's banning Christmas?
But it's the right wingers saying no one's banning Christmas, but the right wingers, to stir up racial hatred and religious hatred, they bring it up every once in a while.
Yeah, it's liberals just having to change the terminology so that we refer to Christmas time as the winter festival, because not everybody celebrates Christmas.
That's what I mean. I thought it was liberals that were trying to do that, not Muslims.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not.
But right-wing groups do say, do kind of like jump on this bandwagon and saying, "Oh, the Muslims want to."
Still a shit idea, though. Just fucking leave it alone. Everybody looks at Christmas in a different way, anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not. I've already said I'm not religious, but I there is nothing in my life that's reinforced or unreinforced if they change the fucking name to Greg's Day. I mean, a national thing happens on that day, but other things can happen at the same time. But it's not there, is it? It's a pagan thing that Christianity. It's not even really.
Yeah. But no, I'm talking about Santa Claus and pageantry. And
it's all a mishmash, isn't it? The Christmas trees are from Germany. Yeah, Santa Claus is
to do with Christ.
Yeah, but it's a national holiday.
Yeah.
Just leave it. You're called Christmas, and when it was a pagan festival, it was something completely different. But
it was called Saturnalia.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. You don't have to change the name to fucking the Winter Festival. People can just take from it what they want, right? I feel like it's just saying that people are thick fucks.
I mean, well, that's it. I mean, there's plenty. I mean, the Winter Festival isn't ultimately going to catch on, is it? Christmas is Christmas, and in the years to come, people go, "What is Christmas?" Well, it actually had its roots in Christianity, believe it or not. I never thought of that.
That's really funny. And that's really funny because people don't need to. Right, because people don't need to be Christian to even celebrate it, because there's plenty of secular ways that, by the way, predate Christianity, right? Because there's a lot of traditions that come from Saturnalia that aren't Christian, that are like pagan in origin, that are still part of the Christmas celebration.
I mean, Saturnalia happened in December, didn't it? That's where
that's why. And it was a church that said
arbitrarily decided, that's when Christ was born.
Well, no. Here's the thing. What you've got is
so that wasn't when Christ was born.
Wait. No, not at all. So here's the thing, right? You've got a lot of pagan people who are saying like, "Oh, this is what we've been doing. This is what we've done all our lives, all 25 years of our lives," because people lived I'm sure to bed. And then the church is like, you can't celebrate Saturnalia anymore. I'm like, fuck off, we've always had Saturnalia. Well, let's rebrand it.
Yeah.
So and that's what happened.
Well,
that's cool. I like that because I want to have a Christmas tree.
Yeah, but that's only 200 years old. No, it's only less than 200 years old because it's the Christmas tree only came from Germany. Before that, we didn't have that in the UK. It was Prince Albert who not only brought over his cock ring, but also Christmas trees and Christmas cards.
Oh, thank God we got them that way round.
The fact of the matter
a
is,
much less popular
Merry Christmas!
holiday
Here's a cock ring.
Yeah, Christmas cock ring.
Christmas cock
What are you doing with that mistletoe? What are you doing with that mistletoe?
Is that what 5 golden
It's about
rings
time we
refer to?
celebrated what Christmas is all about. Oh!
The 5 golden cock rings.
Yeah.
Well, they did change exactly. They changed the song, didn't they? I think originally 5 penis rings.
But my view is that everyone should celebrate Christmas regardless of your religious affiliation or convictions, because it's a cultural thing that is not to do with religion. Like on the 25th of December, right? I'm opening presents and I have a Christmas tree and all the things that people do. I'm singing carols and all that stuff. And then on the 7th of January, I go to church, and that's when our church calendar celebrates the birth of Jesus. And they almost don't have to do with each other. You know what I mean?
On the 7th of January.
Because, like in the Bible, I don't know, in the Bible, in the Nativity, you always see lambs. Yeah. When the frick have you ever seen a lamb in December or January?
Christmas.
No, I think they're a little bit older when they get to Christmas, because lambing season is, I don't know, sometime else.
It's not going to be in January, is it?
No, it's not going to be in January.
Ergo, God.
Yeah. He created those lambs just for that celebration.
Fucker.
But I mean, these weeds that we get into of like, how do you celebrate Christmas, and does Zeus exist or whatever? Like, the bigger point is, there is. I just can't understand how everything exists without a creator,
right?
To give it, to give a beginning to things. And the Big Bang just begs the question, as far as I'm concerned. So
that's the big question mark. Was there divine intervention in the Big Bang? Now I can believe that everything that has happened since the Big Bang has entirely been random chaos and matter banging into each other. But
maybe that's the function of the way God creates things. You ever thought about that? No, you haven't.
But Buddha, no, he has thought about that, because he just said maybe God set off the Big Bang, but then afterwards, like the clockmaker God, everything's just chaos after that. Haven't you had any synchronicity in your life? I just told you a lovely miracle about how me and Max became very good friends.
Did I not tell you about the Xiaolong Bao?
Rob's had many miracles. in the loo, at the cinema, in a taxi.
In the loo.
Have you never had a miracle, Buddha, in your life?
No, in all honesty, not really.
Don't let your missus don't let your missus catch you saying, "Oh, I've never experienced a miracle." What about our kid?
Oh yeah, a miracle.
She's not home. He's allowed.
To 99.99% of the rest of the planet. Yeah. I'll take that as a miracle.
Can I wind the show down?
She's a miracle to me.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean
Showdown.
that. And you know that's not what I meant by the question.
In answer to your question, Ben, I think it comes down to what you look for and what you notice. And if you want to notice synchronicity and miracles and go, oh, shit, like that freaks me out, you will see them everywhere. And if you put everything down to random happenstance and coincidence, then that's probably what I would have put a lot of the weirder things in my life down to. I'm struggling to think of an example of something
Do you think
I would call coincidence, synchronicity, or a miracle, a flat-out miracle in my life. But I would probably have dismissed those things at the time as being, well, in an infinite universe, that's bound to happen at some point.
Do you think that what you believe in is your choice?
No. Okay, I'm making this up on the fly at the moment. I think it's down to how the educators you have around you. Yeah.
I don't think you have any choice.
Really?
Because you have staunch atheists that have been brought up in as healthy relationship religious upbringings where all their family have believed in it and they've just decided no. I think there's a way that your personality there's like elements of your brain that I think are like the motor, and I think that motor is the way you look at things. And I think religion is one of those contentious subjects where it would play on different parts of your brain, because I can see.
I would like to believe that. I would like to believe that I gravitated towards the arguments that I was presented with in life because they seem the most inherently.
Yeah, but my point is, they seem the thing that most of them make sense to you because that's the way you think. If you were on Ben's side of the aisle, you wouldn't be looking at his ideals and thinking, "Oh, this is what I believe, but I don't want to believe these things." You would feel the same.
Right. If I believe that if I had lived Buddha's life in every way identically, I would be like, "Wow, this miracle and that miracle and the other miracle." And if he lived my life, with everything that I've experienced, he'd say, "No, everything's random."
Yeah, I think
okay. So, in conclusion, we are all chemically imbalanced. We're all going to believe what we're going to believe.
I tend to think so. Or at the very least, you have an extremely high percentage of thinking a certain way because of the way your brain chemistry is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's all what it comes down to, brain chemistry.
Yeah. On the note of belief, I've shared something, Max.
Yeah.
It's a T-shirt I did years ago. You know,
I'd love it if Santa existed. Fucking love it.
Oh. What do you mean if Santa existed? Everyone has everyone has the shared archetypal worship of Santa Claus, and we all know that there's no one on the North Pole and there's no flying reindeer. So
I
obviously exists.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, right, I want the literal fat bloke that comes down my chimney to deliver presents. Mainly because I want to catch him and abuse him. And I want to know where all the presents come from.
Atheists are so hung up on real physical things. That's all.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's all you care.
I agree with that.
Yes.
Santa's. I only want Santa if he's actually at the North Pole.
Yeah.
And if the reindeers really fly.
Yeah.
Never mind that that's not what it's supposed to be, anyways. It's supposed
fuck
to
all
be...
that. I want the fat guy that can fly
Yeah.
around the world in an evening, and I want to know the secrets. And I want to give him a big hug, if I'm honest.
I've been really sunburned today.
Jesus Christ,
Jeez.
Did you have a fire?
No, I've been out in the sun for the first time in about 9 months. No, I was going to say, why don't we do the X-Files at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Are we all fans? I don't know, I'm a fan.
Yeah, you can't not love the X-Files, man.
Yeah.
Bye, punk.
All right, so I'm going to bow out soon, but I really want to tell a joke.
Go on then.
All right, so this guy, right, he's got a small penis. And he's like really self-conscious. Even after he gets married, he will never get undressed in front of his wife. He always turns the light off. And what he's done is like he uses a carrot, not the same carrot, obviously, but he gets a different carrot every time, and he like does his wife with a carrot. And his missus is like talking with her friends and talking about this, and saying, I've never seen him naked. He never gets naked in front of me. And so, it's just a bit weird, is it? Do your husbands do that? And everyone's like, no, not at all. So she's like, well, you know what? I'm going to set a trap. So she kind of like has a light set up where she doesn't usually have the light. Anyway, she says, oh, come on, let's get it on tonight. So he's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it. So they go through the whole ritual because they've been married a long time. They go through the whole ritual. And he's like, all right, I'm getting in bed now. And then suddenly, click. she puts the light on, and there he is with a micro dick and a carrot in his hand. And she's like, and she's like, what the F? What the F? We've been married 10 years, and you've been lying to me all this time. And he says, well, don't start about lying. How do you explain the kids? Had you heard this joke before? Then or what?
No, I've never heard that one before.
Oh, carrot. She's probably cheating on her husband, right?
I like to look at it like
I
this.
thought a carrot had impregnated her.
Little carrot babies.
Yeah.
Well, is
three
there
little redheads?
Yeah. Do the children resemble a carrot?
Let me just find a carrot top gif.
Oh, we've been going for a while, boys. Do you want to do it?
Yeah,
what are we doing next week? Judge Dredd, X-Files.
Not a proper show.
Invincible.
Do you want to do? Should we do Let's do X-Files.
X-Files.
Yeah, let's do X-Files in 2 weeks.
Do I have to binge it all again? That's the third time already.
No, you don't have to.
I've never watched the X-Files.
Jesus Christ, he's horrendous, isn't he?
You were just saying yay to the X-Files.
I've never seen X-Files, but I'll be happy to watch it.
Dude,
right.
You've
Okay,
never seen X-Files.
to
X-Files is awesome, especially the early series. Definitely watch.
Let's do the X-Files anyway, because I think with three of us as fans, there'll be enough to educate
we
Ben
should
on. We should suggest some good episodes, maybe.
Exactly.
Eugene Victor Toombs.
Yeah, Eugene Victor Toombs. Yeah, these episodes. He's good.
Yeah.
Which is like episode 2, I think.
Yeah. And the one with Ryan. God, what's his name?
Reynolds. Is he?
The one where Ryan Reynolds dies in the first 5 minutes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did you not know that?
Where they were like, Jack Black dies in the first 5 minutes as well.
No, he's much longer. He's in there for much longer, but he's in there. Yeah.
Oh.
So, do they ever find the aliens?
Oh shit! Yeah, loads of times. Loads of
73
times.
seasons.
There's like, yeah, it's more. There's loads of other mysterious things apart from aliens, but like, I'm sure they find about 10 different types of alien, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they do, but like the evidence always gets stolen, or
they can never prove it. Is that what
exactly?
it is?
They entrust it to the wrong people.
It was much like the podcast tonight, you know. Mulder wants to believe, and Scully is the skeptic. She says, "I do not believe."
Oh, so you're Scully? Hang on, you're Scully.
I'm Scully,
and you're Mulder.
Anderson. I'm the hottest thing that ever lived.
So that makes Max. That would make you
Eugene Victor Toombs.
You would make you Mitch Pileggi. Skinner.
Who's that? Skinner. Yeah, I like Skinner. Skinner's an ass. Yeah, I look a bit like him now as well, don't I?
We should say this for 2 weeks' time. Let's definitely do the X-Files.
And Ben, definitely watch the Simpsons episode of the X-Files.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was such a thing.
It's brilliant. I love it. It's got Leonard Nimoy. It's got Mulder and Scully. It's fantastic. One of my all-time favorite Simpsons episodes.
Thanks for coming on, guys. See you in a bit.
All right.
Bye.